Hello everyone. Today's poem is Shao Nan, 野有死麕 by 佚名 or by anonymous. Shao Nan, the Shao Wind, is one of the very critical part in the Book of Songs. The Shao Wind is from the area that surrounding the capital of the Zhou dynasty. So this reflects the life and the feeling and of course the social cultures of the Zhou people. And we have one of the poem from Shao Wind already, Pika Pika Nest. So that's one of the famous poem from the Shao Wind in my video as well. This poem is not a very popular poem, but it has so many arguments how to interpret the meaning or the situation reflected in this poem through the Chinese history. And the first generation of interpretations for the Book of Songs is in the Han dynasty 2000 years ago from today, and the culture was dominated by the Confucians, and they appreciated the Zhou dynasty, especially the West Zhou dynasty. Basically that's the period or the time reflected by the Book of Songs. They appreciate that time so much, they treat that the West Zhou dynasty as an ideal society, ideal dynasty in the Chinese history. So when they interpret the poems in the Book of Songs, they created a lot of things by their own imagination, per the basis that the things in the Book of Songs, everything is in a very disciplined with the highest standard moral and the most ideal society in the Chinese history. So that's they have a big bias when they interpret this poem or all the poems in the Book of Songs, but that reflected in this poem the most, because in their mind this poem is a poem of erotic poems or a poem against erotic or the love without moral, without disciplines. The attitude of the Han people, either they treat this poem as an erotic poem, so let's forget it, or they treat this poem as a sort of the lesson learned. The girl described in this poem, she refused a love affair that without proper manner, without proper arrangement. So the very normal process for a Chinese marriage is through a matchmaker, and then with the consent of both parents and with the proper wedding process, the two could get married. And this poem actually is describing a sort of the love affair, making love in the wild. So that's far beyond the social habits from the social standards. The title 野有死麕, 麕 means a small shape of deer or river deer. So the title means in the wild there is a dead deer. Okay, let's look at the poem now. 野有死麕，白毛包之。 In the wild, there is a dead river deer. It was wrapped up by the grass of 白毛. 白毛 is a term or name for that type of grass. So the first pair of sentences in the Book of Songs is always using the writing techniques 心. So this pair of sentence normally has nothing to do with the subject in this poem, or it could be some of the comparisons of the subject in this poem. In that the second case, it was called 比心. 比 is comparison. The second pair of sentence, 有女怀春，即是幼之. 有女, there is a girl. 怀春 means the girl feels the romance, or he began to think about love. The hard translation of 怀春 is to embrace the spring. And in the Chinese philosophy, the spring is a time of marriage, of production. So it's the timing for young girl, for young boy to find their couples and get married. 即是幼之, the very handsome, strong man lead her way. 急 means strong, big. 是 actually refers to a social level of the man. Though in the Zhou dynasty, the people basically was categorized in two big groups, the citizens and the slaves. 士 belongs to the lowest social level of the citizens. They not do the farming, craftsman work. They also has the duty to serve in the army. They can participate to the political life, and of course they contribute the poems to the Book of Songs. So very obviously this song was by people from the 士 social levels. The character 幼 in today's Chinese means induce, tempt with tricks. But in the very ancient time in the Zhou dynasty, it means to lead the ways. So if there's no negative meanings of this character. So a sum up for the first paragraph. So the first pair of sentences is the typical writing technique. 心, it describes a situation in the wild. There is a dead deer, well prepared or well wrapped up. So it's well prepared. And it also gives a little background of the characters. There's a girl who was thinking about love, a young girl thinking about love, and a very handsome, strong man try to lead her way. So in today's language, we'll say this man tried to attempt to allure this girl, right? So basically, we should know there's no negative feelings or meanings in the first paragraph. It's leading the girl's way. The second paragraph, 林有朴素，野有死路. In the forest, there is little trees among the bushes. In the wild, there is deer, a dead deer. 朴素 means the small wood in the grass. So something fundamental changed in the second paragraph. The veneer changed. So in the Zhou dynasty, the center is the tongue, and the land surrounding the tongue is called jiao. So, and in this area, in the Zhou. The citizens live in these areas. And then far beyond is Ye, the wild place. Basically, actually, it's farmland. But that because the people lived in the wild, they are slaveries. So that's why the place beyond Jiao is so called as wild. And Lin actually is somewhere far more beyond the wild, because Lin basically normally most time it refers to the mountains. So we know from the town of Shao, roughly it could be 20 to 30 kilometers from the South Mountain. We know it, the geography very clearly. It never changed in the history. So compare the first paragraph and second paragraph, we can feel a little bit change. Something changed. The venue changed from the wild, somewhere much closer to the town, and to the somewhere far from the town, in the mountains. And theirs could be much bigger, because the term also changed from Jun to Lu. Jun is a small deer, is a type of small deer, and Lu is the normal deer we know. It's much a bigger creature than the Jun. And then let's try to feel the people. In the first paragraph, we know there's a girl, and we know there is a very handsome, strong man. He won that girl. 白毛捆树，有女如玉. It was wrapped with the grass, and the girl is just like jade. The first glance of the second paragraph, it looks very simple and nothing changed, but it actually implied the venue has changed from the wild of the wild could be the farmland, could be the grassland, and to a far away place in the mountain, in the forest. And the prey, the deer, is very attractive, well managed, well prepared, neatly ramped up with the grass. And that girl is like jade. So it's more of personal feelings. So we know two things. The place changed and the personal feeling expressed. Wow, what a beautiful girl. So that's the personal feelings. And also it implies the love affair has getting to some of the very practical or real cases. Not just there's a girl who is thinking about love, there's a man, handsome one, want to lead that girl to a place. So the interesting part is that we know it's something of a love affair, but we know nothing exactly happened, but we can feel the atmosphere. The deer is very attractive. The prey is very attractive, well prepared, and the girl was so beautiful. That's the feelings of the poet, and that's the atmospheres. But still, we know nothing about what actually happened, but the place and the atmosphere. 疏而退退兮，无感我睡兮. Shu means the action very slowly, and 退退, it doesn't spell as 脱. So in modern Chinese, it's spelled as 脱, which means take off, and in here it should be read as 退. And there's two explanations of this term, but my understanding is it means to remove. So this sentence means slowly removed. And the second explanation means the 退 also means very slowly, gently. So there's doesn't make sense. The whole sentence with 5 characters, it means just one single meaning. Slowly. So that doesn't make sense. So the explanation should be slowly, it's removed. So we still know nothing about, but we know very little part of that. Something was progressing. The thing is progressing. It never stops somewhere. It's always progress and going forward. And it's about a love affair. So just feel that. 无憾我睡兮 Don't touch my handkerchief. 感 is the borrowed word of 汉 which means touch, which means to rock. So don't touch my handkerchief. 睡 is not the handkerchief we know as today. It's a piece of paper. It used to clean the dirty things, and it was carried by the girls, by the women. But that handkerchief was dedicated for the women. And there's a term so-called 睡晨. It means the time the girl gave birth, when the girl was born, 睡晨. So that because the 睡 was only linked with girl, with women, and thus we make the word 睡晨. So here we just know 睡 is a handkerchief like a piece of paper. Normally it's used to clean the sweaters, the dirties, and it was only used by the women. So let's look at this sentence again. Don't touch my personal handkerchief. Don't touch my handkerchief, which is vital for a woman. So the previous sentence is something was progressing. Slowly something removed. And this sentence means, from the girl's perspective, don't touch my stuff. So you can think a lot, right? I don't need to say anything more. You can think about it. It's sort of the love affairs. A boy and a girl, they are crushed with each other, and they go to some of the very secret place far from the village, go into the forest, and something was removed, and the girl says, don't touch my personal stuff. And the last words, 无使麕也吠. 无使, don't let the dog barks. 麕 is a hairy, big dog. So this sentence is the sentence the girl talked to the man. Don't let the dog barks. So you can just imagine and think about the previous sentences and make the situation by yourself. What happened actually, the boy with that girl. And now we know there's a big, hairy dog besides them. So the Han people treat this poem as an erotic poem. That's true. It described a love affair very vividly with a very hot atmosphere. That's far from the people who followed the Confucius philosophies in the Han Dynasty and even in the later generations. Before the marriage, the young man and young girl should never meet each other, not to say make life in the wild. Luckily, I have paid a visit to Zhou Miao, the temple of Zhou, roughly 100 kilometers west to Xi'an city. Zhou was the guy who created all the rituals, the music, the laws, the code of conduct for Zhou dynasty. All these are the basis for the Confucianism. Zhou was the mostly appreciated, admired person by Confucius, and this is the place for today's people who make sacrifice, who praise for Zhou in this Zhou temple of Zhou. There is a local festival hosted in this temple in the late spring every year. The festival for pregnancy for kids. And the women from all around will gathered in this temple, pray for their pregnancy, for their new babies. And there is a lot of the little small house in the back end of the temple. So the women who was married and never got pregnancy, she could choose one of the small house on the back of the temple and stayed overnight. And any young adult man can enter that house with the permission of that woman, of course, and make love for the purpose to have a new baby, to help that woman to get pregnant. So that's the local tradition even till today. So could you feel a little bit similarity from the situation in this poem and to the situation of that local festival in the very genuine land of Zhou people? The family values for the Zhou people not only refers to the marriage, the ritual things, but very, very importantly, or maybe the most important things, to have babies, to make this family a bigger family, as prosperous as they could. We can find some of the evidence in the history book as well. The Zhou people made it very clearly that they take the China under Zhou people's ruling, but they are a very small county. They started as a very small county. The population of the Zhou people are not as many, or maybe not enough to support their ruling to the whole China. 如临深渊，如履薄冰, as in front of a very deep cliff, as if on the edge of very thin ice. So that's the status the Zhou king described himself, the status of his life and of his ruling over the China. He always feel horrible, and he feel the dangers surrounded him, because he, with a very small population of Zhou people ruling the vast land of ancient China, that's the biggest danger for him. He should be watch out. He should be very careful. And the strategy to make this dangerous situation better is to use the marriage to make more alliance, to use the marriage to change their potential enemy to their friends. On the other hand, the Zhou people should do their job as well, to have more babies. So this would fundamentally make the Zhou population bigger, and this would make the Zhou dynasty more stable. This could also be the root cause that the poems in the Geoghan, the Wind of Zhou, and the Shaonan, the Wind of Shao, basically they are the son of the real Zhou person. Most of the poems are about marriage and productions, because at the very beginning of the Zhou dynasty, to make alliance with other people and have more Zhou babies, that's the most critical job for every Zhou people. And we can see that heritage even in today's local festival. That festival basically is a festival about more babies, new babies, by any means. So with all this history background in mind, when we look back to this poem, of course, this poem is not a warning to the erotic love affairs. It's an encourage on the contrary, and it's even a sort of the temptations for the young girls and young boys. In the spring, try to find a lovely girl and do your best. The dead deer, the prey, also implies this strong young man could be a very capable soldier. That's also another very critical thing for Zhou people, because they are a small population and they should keep their army as stronger as possible. And in every autumn, all the citizens, basically they are soldiers as well. They are summoned to form the army, and then they went into the wild and make a big hunting under the orders of the generals. That's also a military practice as well. So in this poem, the dead deer, well prepared, well ramped up, very attractive, could be the gift for this love affair to that girl. So that's one of the requirements by the code of conduct of the Zhou dynasty. Whenever you meet with other people or you do something with other people, you should take a gift with you. And on the other hand, this capable soldier hunt down a very nice prey, and he is also a very attractive male person for the lovely girls. So all this make the atmosphere very pleasant, attractive, of course a little bit erotic. The hairy dog, besides, also proves this strong young man is a hunter, is a capable soldier. From the writings, we can see that this poem was not very sophisticated on wordings. It's not very symmetrical on the wordings, and also it has 4 character wordings and 5 characters wordings. Anyhow, the atmosphere described in this poem is so vividly and so true and so arousing. That's the best part of it. Close your eyes, think about the situation described in this poem. Is it like a movie? It's going through. The two persons, they are meet each other in the wild in the spring, and they feel some of the erotic atmospheres. And then the man tried to lead the girls with that very nice prey or gift to the dark, heavy forest in the far-away place. Then the two fell in love. That's the best entertainment before we have movies. We almost have a movie in our mind with all the situations and atmospheres by this poem. Okay, that's for today. Bye-bye.